Welcome to There Is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's fitness programs, and I've been in business since 1994. The purpose of this podcast is to get to the real deal of what really works, and most importantly, why things work. Hence the name, There Is a Method to the Madness. It is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Before I get to that, let me thank Jonathan and Lynn Gilden of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They are committed to providing the highest level of customer service and home sales. Why don't you give them a shout and figure out what your home is worth? 386-451-2412. Common questions that come around Thanksgiving or statements or jokes is how to eat. So I'm going to give you 3 different theories because look, everything is a theory, right? There's no perfect way to do anything. Nobody's figured everything out. Everything comes down to what works for you. And if you don't know, you can maybe pick and choose from what has worked for other people, and then use a little bit of your own metrics to decide if that works for you. So nobody really knows, right? So these are all theories. I'll tell you my theories, I'll tell you the theories, and we can see where we can go from there. Because ultimately what we want to do, right, the goal is to have a good day and not sacrifice everything we've been doing or lead us to feel guilty, right? So that's a win. If we can get through the day saying, I enjoyed the holiday by enjoying some food, by enjoying some friendship, some fellowship, some good times, a day off from work, and I didn't slide backwards if we're talking our fitness goals or really anything else, then isn't that a win? So how can we have a win? So there are 3 theories, as I said. The first one is just the super rigorous theory where you don't really, let's say you're dieting. Let's say you're on a weight loss program that's been pretty stringent and you've lost 30 to 40 pounds, so you're really doing well. You've been counting calories every day. You've been watching different types of foods and not eating this, not eating that. So just a stringent diet plan. The one theory is you don't deviate from that. You just say it's another day. Maybe you eat some of the traditional Thanksgiving foods, at least some of them, like the turkey and the potatoes maybe, but you still don't have the pie or anything like that. But you really keep it to the bare minimum and you just restrict. You overly restrict on Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter or whatever holiday we could be discussing. So that is one theory. The second theory is the polar opposite of that. And that is, you know what? I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Now, that's not that rare, by the way. I mean, for people who don't exercise or have a wellness or health lifestyle, that's every day anyway, right? So you don't even have to tell them that. That's not a theory. That's just how they live. So, but for people that exercise and are on pretty, rigorous plans and watch what they eat most of the time, it's still not that unusual for them to have what they would call a cheat day. Bodybuilders do it during training and even during the cut time of training when they're trying to reduce body fat for stage competition. They will simply have one day a week where they eat whatever they want, or one meal per week where they eat whatever they want. So it's not that unusual. So if you see a bodybuilder who follows that kind of practice or somebody else, they might make that day Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter or again, whatever holiday or birthday or special day we're talking about. So it's not that unusual of a theory to have a cheat day. So that's another option. And by the way, I think that's a way better option than the overly restrictive option A, where you're just sticking to your overly restrictive diet and you have no deviation on any special days. I don't know that that works overly well for anybody all of the time anyway. And I just think like if you try to do that on a holiday, like just once or twice, whatever, that you might get through it. But I do think you're probably, based on my experience, setting yourself up for failure. Now, keep in mind, a little caveat here. This doesn't have like, I'm not talking to people who have really, really struggled with different types of eating disorders. They need to, you need to, if that is you, speak to your doctor and stay in continuous contact with them about situations like this. So I don't want to say, oh, for you, eat whatever you want or don't eat. Like that's just not, because it is different for those that don't know. Any types of eating disorders is a medical disease, and it'd be kind of like telling an alcoholic to take the day off and go ahead and have a beer. You just can't do that. So just keep that in mind. I'm talking to the general population who do not have any issues like that. And by the way, those are a lot more common than you think. All right. So that's option B or option 2. Okay. Now let's go with option 3. Option 3, as you probably guess, is somewhere in the middle of the road. I like option 3 a lot. So you basically, if you've been following a pretty rigid program and you're losing weight, which is great, and you're doing that by counting your calories and keeping track of things, and maybe you've been around, 1,400 calories a day for a while, which is pretty low calorie, but not that restrictive depending on your gender and weight. Most likely weight, I would say, is a better protocol because usually the gender is lower in calories simply because typically females are going to be lighter in weight. So, that is not that low of a diet. It's still restrictive, but not overly restrictive. It's doable. But let's say you've been doing that and a holiday rolls around. Well, personally, I don't see anything wrong with having a little bit more than you normally do and having some of the, quote, forbidden foods, unquote, that you don't normally have. But I would say still keep it in moderation. Like, I think food logging is one of the best things we can do, and it's really the solution to almost everything diet related. So let's say you do that, but you log it. Well, now you know how much you ate and how much more you can get away with. And really, weight loss does come down to math. It really is simple math. And when you can measure it, you can manage it. So that works really well. So I think solution C or 3 is best personally for most people. Tell yourself you're gonna, cheat a little, but just not that much. Like, don't go crazy. I don't see the point if you're on a health and fitness program, you don't have to be a gym person to fall under that category. You don't have to be a runner, a triathlete. Really, it's just you're concerned about your health. Like, there are plenty of people that I've known through the years that aren't like chronic exercisers. Well, I shouldn't say that. They definitely walked, and that's exercise. But like their level of exercise was walking, and then they ate right. So they fall into that category of keeping themselves in shape. I would say I wish they'd add a little strength training because that's so good for everybody. But, they're still fall under that category of staying in shape. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to just turn the whole day into a feeding orgy, so to say, right? A binge. Is it really necessary? Are our eyes a little bit bigger than our stomach and we end up eating too much and we feel sick? I mean, can you do a lot of metabolic damage to yourself or even weight gain damage in one day? I mean, I hate to tell the people who are going to do that no, but the reality is no. Like it's what you do every day that counts. I mean, even if you totally went off the grid there and just went crazy with eating, I mean, no, you're not going to gain 50 pounds. You're not going to gain 10 pounds. You're not going to gain 5 pounds. Maybe water weight and bloated and all that. Yes, sodium, but you're not going to gain 5 pounds of fat unless you consume 25,000 calories, which I'm not tempting you or challenging you. Don't try to do that. But you are going to feel like crap. You're going to feel bloated. It's not good for your stomach. It's not good for your sleep, and it's probably not good for your conscience because you may feel a little guilty. And if you have issues getting back on the wagon the next day, like let's say, like bodybuilders are really good for having a cheat day, but the very next day, no issues getting right back on. Is that because they're so disciplined or they've done it forever? I don't know, but they don't struggle. And I can speak from experience because I've done that before. You actually kind of look forward to it because you're like, ugh, I ate a little too much yesterday. I'm kind of just happy to clean it up today and feel a little cleaner everywhere, So, but you have to know yourself, right? I mean, that's the famous saying, right? Know yourself. To thy own self be true. You have to know what works best for you. So I don't see where a binge would be great, not all day, and, not all week. You get leftovers, great. By the way, just a little piece of advice, you're not supposed to keep leftovers for more than 3 days or the food is not really safe to eat anymore. So, the next day, maybe have a little leftovers, but then donate it, Find somebody. I mean, I've done this before where literally, maybe it looks a little weird or, whatever, and maybe they don't eat it, but when I've seen people on corners of the street, the day after Thanksgiving, everybody's out shopping on Black Friday, which I think is a horrible holiday, by the way. But anyway, I'll leave, I won't be judgmental here, but I'll see people, begging, so to say, and, I'll give them a bag full of leftovers. I've given them like 3/4 of a pie because I only ate one slice and nobody else liked pecan pie. So, I mean, that's something to do with the leftovers, right? That can go to absolute good use, Again, maybe they're not going to consume it if I'm standing there and, well, I can't say how, I don't know, maybe I would, but maybe I'd be like, I don't know this person, whatever. But you can at least try, right? I mean, that's something healthy to do with the leftovers. And then the final point would be stay active. I like to start my Thanksgiving days with a turkey trot. Like I love to go out and do typically the John Boyle one that's over in DeLand, the Thanksgiving Day one. It's been put on for 40 years. I've done the 10-miler, I've done the 5K, I've done both over the years. I don't know, probably more than any local race around. John recently passed this year, and he was a legend in the running community, and he'll be absolutely missed, and I'll be there because in honor to John, I want to pay the money to do that and support whatever is left over for him, and his family. So, staying active is great. It's a great way to get exercise, whatever you like to do. Doesn't have to be running, of course, it could be anything. Make sure you get your steps in. Just really stay moving. It's better for your digestive tract, If you're a big football watcher, and I am, turn it into games, A team scores a touchdown, do some squats, do some push-ups, Make some fun out of it, but absolutely stay active, all right? So hope these tips help, and my final tip of the day will be if you need a new garage door, please check out Overhead Door of Daytona Beach. They have the best product, they have the best service, and it's owned by Jeff and Zach Hawk of Ormond Beach, Florida. They're fantastic. Give them a shout at overheaddordaytona.com.